please take your seats. We'll start in a few minutes. Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen. Let me wish you a very warm welcome to the start of this Economic Forum for Regional Cooperation. It gives us great pleasure to host you here in Skopje at the event aimed to promote our region as a field of progressive ideas, a field of cooperation and growth. At the beginning, the opening remarks by their excellencies, the Prime Minister Zoran Zaev, President Aleksandar Vučić, and the Prime Minister Edi Rama. Just as a reminder, I would kindly ask you to respect the protocols for protection from COVID-19 and wear your mask constantly today. Thank you. Premier Zaev, povedete.
Dear President of the Republic of Serbia, Mr. Aleksandar Vučić, dear Prime Minister of the Republic of Albania, Mr. Edi Rama, dear Presidents of Chambers of Commerce of the Republic of Albania, Serbia and North Macedonia, dear representatives of the business community from Albania, Serbia, North Macedonia, Montenegro, Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Slovenia, Greece and other countries, dear members of my government that are here today with us, dear ambassadors, dear friends. As of today, a new era of cooperation in the region is starting. Today in Skopje, we have representatives of more than 350 companies from Albania, Serbia and North Macedonia, and 100 more representatives of the Chambers of Commerce and business communities from the other countries in the Balkans, as well as from many other countries beyond the region of the Balkans. This mass response to our invitation to take part in this event and to become active stakeholders in the even more stronger and more powerful collaboration in the region is a sign that economic connection and the creation of dynamic and vital regional economic space is our shared desire and ambition. I wish to reassure you, and I hope that it's obvious, that our political will of the President Vučić, the Prime Minister Rama, and my political will are the expression of our maximum commitment to make sure we have all the prerequisites, depending on the governments of our three countries, for efficient and effective regional cooperation. This is a strong political will. This is our clear determination for the highest public interest and the benefit of our peoples. We are connecting to develop our economies, to build a shared economy, to build the region and a better life of every single citizen in our country. We are connecting with a clear, open and public intention for our peoples to feel direct economic benefits as soon as possible from the facilitation we are securing. We are expecting very soon such benefits to be felt in the household budgets of millions of families, in the quality of life of millions of citizens. For us, it's undoubtedly clear that only through an integrated and connected region we can move toward our basic goal, the EU membership, since we cannot be nothing else rather than countries from the European Balkans. And what we're building today is resulting from European values, since in its foundations it contains equally all the four freedoms of the EU, the freedom of movement of people, goods, capital and services. We are fully dedicated more than ever to the implementation of the four freedoms. First, to ensure free movement of goods through the strengthened infrastructure at the border crossings, through a 24/7 working hours of all border services, and by expanding the green corridors of our countries and the Western Balkans towards the EU. Our final goal is to ensure non-stop just go without stopping at all at the border crossings between Serbia, North Macedonia, Albania, and hopefully in the future beyond that. Number two, to prepare all government policies for free movement of services through our mutual recognition of professional qualifications, introduction of a license-free system for intercompany transfers within the 6 countries of the Western Balkans, qualified electronic signatures and other confidential services. Number 3, to expand free movement of people through ensuring mobility of students, scientists, researchers, mutually recognizing our qualifications by expanding the tourist offer and connections in the region. Number 4, to additionally facilitate free movement of capital through harmonizing the approach to the regulatory framework for the financial market. To accomplish these freedoms today, for starters, we'll be signing a very important agreement and 2 more important memoranda of understanding to ensure the conditions for the implementation of these freedoms. We heard the appeal from the business people from across the region, and we started the procedures to minimize or fully remove administrative impediments in procedures wherever possible. In the 3 countries, we are digitizing a huge number of administrative procedures and databases. We've heard and we are accepting the call of the business people in the region: less history and more economy, to the benefit and to the future of our citizens. Our goal for integrated regional market brings about an additional growth of the GDP in the region, since we are stronger if we are connected. This makes Western Balkans more attractive, more competitive, and closer to the EU markets. Dear attendees, the lack of the failure of the EU to open the first intergovernmental conference with Albania, Serbia, and Macedonia, and the first clusters with Serbia and Montenegro, as well as the visa liberalization for Kosovo, is against the EU idea, against the interests of the EU, and opposing the member aspirations of these 3 countries that have met all the criteria as us and Albania, and under the new methodology with regard to Serbia and Montenegro. However, we cannot wait for all the internal issues of the EU to be resolved to move our economy and our citizens forward. We are here even when the EU is ready. We are already standing ready with already facilitated conditions for our citizens and the economic initiatives, and we'll be discussing them today, and I hope that the EU will find a way to fund such initiatives, especially for the fact that quite a few of them are part of the green agenda. However, I'm not here today to speak about the EU. I'm here to speak about our citizens, our countries, our ideas, our European Balkans, about Western Balkans, about this open region, about the region and an initiative that will be presented today under a new name that reflects the essence of the new reality that we are promoting, all of us together today: the leaders, the business people, the citizens of Albania, Serbia, North Macedonia, and all the other countries in the region. All of us together are giving a new impetus to the shared economic space of the interconnected regional market. The interconnected regional market is a motivation to encourage new regional initiatives aimed at our integration. Our region has approximately 18 million people, and that's a very serious capital to strengthen our economies, to improve the benefit of our people, and to bring about major investments. That would be much more difficult if we did it each of us individually. The regional harmonization of investment policies and better coordinated promotion will make the potential visible of the economies in the countries of the region to increase their attraction to foreign direct investment. Our countries have huge potential in terms of sustainable growth and development. We will seek practical support to make our region be a source of renewable energy for our citizens and for the green energy future of the entire European continent. It is to us to do anything possible to recognize the resources of our region regarding the green transition to the EU, and we are calling both the EU and the United States to become part of the development of these resources. It is our contribution to the EU green transition. Allow me to wrap up by two more points. The strong political will and the support we've received from the business communities of all the countries in the region for a new momentum and rebranding of the regional collaboration at a much faster pace and for much more effects is our authentic and non-mediated initiative. It is only our initiative. We are independently showing political leadership and care to promote the collaboration, for which this time we have a specific action program, and I'm convinced that it's going to be recognized as an initiative for respect and support both in Brussels and Washington. In addition, I deem that this type of regional cooperation can create a serious contribution to the relaxation of political relations in the region. We are open for all the initiatives going towards strengthening regional cooperation and speeding up the process of integration into the EU of all the Western Balkan countries. This is an authentic, shared process of North Macedonia, Albania, and Serbia. And from the very start, we've said that the initiative is open for all the countries in the Western Balkans, and therefore, once again, we call the other colleagues to join us such that our peoples are presenting the Balkans and the European Balkans to create the vision for a joint economic and political space in the Balkans, to make it a reality with specific benefits for all of our citizens, to make it become an important part of the daily lives of our citizens through the single market. In that spirit, we wish to strengthen the collaboration process through us, between us in the entire region, and do our best to make it happen. I'm especially grateful for the honor you've given us, all the business people to the Republic of North Macedonia who are hosting this event, but also the entire business community from Serbia, Albania, and the other countries in attendance today. Thank you very much. I wish you a successful event and inspiring discussions. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister Zaev.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Serbia, Aleksandar Vučić, the floor is yours.
Dear Prime Minister of North Macedonia, Mr. Zaev, dear friend, my distinguished friend, Mr. Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama, dear guests, I believe that Zoran has just said just everything on behalf of both of us, so there's nothing left to say, but I will try by not reading more or less the same or similar to what Zoran has already said. I'd like to point to a few things. When we started with this initiative, the three of us thought of it as of something good, something that is forward-looking, something that changes things in the Balkans, where we always with unbearable easiness were finding some flaws and omissions of the others, and with unbearable easiness finding the reasons for mutual quarrels. When we talked, we were thinking how it would be good for those who are not closest to each other in Serbia and Albania, have never been particularly close in their respective histories, and all of us had different kind of problems. We decided to turn our head from looking towards the past to looking towards the future, and to start thinking about what are we going to leave to our children. And everything that I'm saying is some kind of a usual political narrative. But what's not is that I can tell you that in the past 2 years, a true trust has developed among us in the sense of relations towards the region and relations towards Europe and world. And we are on our European path, but we are neither stupid nor naive to believe that somebody else is going to work on behalf and to the benefit of our countries unless we do it by ourselves. And that's why it is important for us that people in our countries are shown, both in Albania, North Macedonia, and in Serbia, that we are capable of making the decision by ourselves, that we are capable of taking care of ourselves, that we are capable of improving the lives of our citizens, to be on our European path, to work with everybody, but not to wait for someone to take us somewhere and to bring us to some places, but to change our faith and destiny and to work in the interest of our citizens. This trust is a key thing that has happened. Meanwhile, when you have that kind of a full trust, then you can make things happen. Then you don't think what the other one was thinking with any of his or her respective proposals. We have no problems. We agree easily on everything, just like during the previous video summit and the one before that. Everything that Zoran proposed, we accepted. Everything that Eddie proposed, we accepted. Some things that I proposed, they accepted, because everybody knows that there is nothing hidden behind all that, but that everything is just in the interest of all of us. I was listening to remarks of some people saying Serbia thereby gets the most because it's the biggest. No, that's not true. We are all gaining with this. If we achieve something that Zoran has just mentioned, please tell me, how come that citizens of Albania or the citizens of North Macedonia are not gaining something if we from Belgrade or Novi Sad can travel without any stops, without any holds, both to Skopje and Ohrid and to Tirana, Durrës and Skadar. There's nothing, there is no stopping on our way. I mean, do you understand? That's history. We're just passing, going through. We have sovereign independent countries. There are no borders for us. Because it's enough to tell that it's enough to stay in the territory of one country, because we have software data exchange, just like we're going to work here with one software. Do you know what's that going to mean for our trucks, for our trade exchange, for our goods? You'll have 6 to 9% lower operational costs. No stops between us. Whatever you might sell or buy, nobody's going to stop you anywhere. We have to do that. We have to see how we're going to make the proper approach to the VAT to enable each other, to enable each other to implement those decisions. But that's a salvation for our economies. We have to work together on attracting investment. Today, in one part of Serbia, we have a problem because we don't have enough labor force. And how we're going to attract a big investor unless we say, well, people, we're fighting for this together with North Macedonia and Albania. Those people can help us both when it comes to qualified and non-qualified labor force. And we can build factory in Vranje and Kumanovo. You can build factories in both, and in Kukës or together with any other place in North Macedonia. So endless opportunities are opened by this, and neither of those possibilities and those things that are before us is bad for us. Quite the contrary. Our 3 countries will end this year with totally 76 billion euro of total GDP, counting Serbia, North Macedonia and Albania. That's a lot less than Slovakia. And you know how fast we can get there? In 5 or 6 years we can be even in front of them. And start completely changing the relation in this ratio of power, let's say. We can be development engine and the growth engine, but we have to make these terms for entrepreneurs easier to enable them to save the money so that they could reinvest them into their companies. That's why I'm really thrilled and happy to see that a lot of people, despite COVID and despite because of the fact that we limited the presence of the people, I'm really thrilled to see so many people in Skopje today. And I believe that on our next gathering in Belgrade, we can organize, I hope that we will not have such problems with Corona. And this should be, our working groups and our teams should do their job by the 15th of October, and most probably beginning of November we'll see each other in Belgrade. Then we'll go to Tirana next or some other place in Albania, according to Eddie's proposal. What we're doing is to show that we can leave the past behind and that we can look towards the future, and first of all to look towards the lives and the improvement of living standards of ordinary people who can only benefit from this. No one can be harmed by this. And this is not against anybody. This is only going towards the goal, the holy and the only possible goal, which is to make lives of our citizens better. And there is nothing more important or more beautiful or more sacred than that. And this, of course, there will be always those who would be against something, somebody who would try to find some conspiracy theories, people who are not thinking about economy, people who are not thinking in a long-term manner, but those who are just thinking about some next upcoming elections, who would find some defects and flaws in everything. But this is how this is the way how to begin things. And I know that many people worldwide and globally are not thrilled because they don't have the steering wheel in their hands, but the steering wheel is in the hands of our 3 countries. And they, as sovereign independent countries, make their own decisions. It's our call. It's the call of our citizens. They want us to live better and to work better and not to wait for some small things coming from somebody else. Why should we wait for something small coming from someone when we can make the biggest growth rates by ourselves? And we can cooperate in all the areas. Zoran was mentioning green agenda. We will have problems because that's, of course, an additional trick. Everybody would want to be, first to be energy unsecure so that we would have to import all the energy derivatives in next long-term period, but it's our job and job of our experts how to secure ourselves to have enough electricity, and then we'll see what next. And to see what are the other things that we can do together. Eddie proposed to speak how we could manage cargo transport, how we can make something that's best, because if you connect it only to one country and you don't have the port like Dures says, then it's meaningless. We're going to make something big between Belgrade and Niš. No, but if we go from Novi Sad, Belgrade and Niš to Skopje, and from Skopje further to Tirana and Dures, then we can make a big thing. That's why we should have established some sort of a advisory board that's going to be in charge of those big things and to work in the fastest possible pace. And we tasked ourselves last night, we will try and do the best, because that's not easy. One condition was trust. The second condition is, are we going to be capable, are 3 governments going to be capable of delivering results quickly? Are we going to be able to overcome all the weaknesses of our administrations or not? If we manage to do all that, January the 1st, 2023, we will have no borders between our countries. I mean, we do have them, but there are no limits and borders for our citizens. No borders for our citizens. You travel from Belgrade to Tirana, nobody is stopping you at any point, and vice versa. Nobody's going to ask you of anything or stop you anywhere, and thereby we increase the security of our citizens. Once we connect into a single system, we know our people from organized crime, we know who are the people who dealt with I don't know what kind of business, and all the 3 countries have common response and simultaneous response. And thereby we strengthen all our capacities, thereby we're stronger in everything that we used to be until yesterday. And everybody knows that there are significant differences between us, and we all know that everybody's gonna preserve and keep its own independence and sovereignty, but all the citizens are gonna be happy. And the last, final important thing, something that we've already discussed with representatives of our Chamber of Commerce, and I believe with the representatives of Macedonian Albanian Chamber of Commerce, we're gonna start with some concrete initiatives for providing some benefits to the citizens of our three countries, from discount for train tickets to discounts to toll collection. And if Europeans do not allow us to do that from Europe, we are going to find some other way to do that, to some discounts in restaurants, hotels, and everywhere. We're going to find the possibility that if you come from one of these three countries, you will have 3, 5, 10, or even higher percentage of discount. And people can feel that someone who's coming to Belgrade to have some fun, to visit National Museum, they say, well, I saved some money by coming here. It means to me. People who I met here from Vranje and Sirinička Župa, who were walking in Skopje, they will be able to say, well, see, we saved 5 or 10% of the money that we planned to spend. Our people who are traveling to Albania, to the seaside, and it's more and more of them because they enjoy the beautiful beaches and exceptional hospitality of Albanians. Those people will say, well, look, we saved some money. There are some benefits from what our politicians were doing. That's our job, and I'm asking you, entrepreneurs, to help us in the sense that you're going to put pressure on your respective chambers and to put pressure on all of us to work faster and stronger, because this task that we put before us for only 1.5 years, 16 or 17 months from now, to try to fully open our borders, that's a historical task, and we will see if we are up to it or not. But the very idea, I'm quite positive, a historical one, because I believe that it's been high time for quite some time to run away from the relations from colonization, in which we were asking everybody else what we were supposed to do. But it's time to take things in our hands and to decide on our destiny and our future by ourselves. I want to thank my Macedonian and Albanian colleagues and friends. I want to say to everybody that you're all welcome to Belgrade and Serbia, and I hope that in 2 or 3 months we'll see each other in Belgrade. I wish you a good health and all the best to you and your families. Long live our friendship, and I'm confident in the good future.
Thank you, President Vučić. I would now ask His Excellency, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Albania, Edi Rama, to deliver his speech. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I will talk in Albanian as agreed, and I do hope that this time the translator will better than last time when he was unable to convey my message. And I do hope that today, which is a positive day for all of those who came here, not only from Albania and Serbia, but also from Montenegro, Kosovo, and Bosnia and Croatia, Slovenia, and Greece. And therefore, the mosaic of participation and participants is wider than the 3 countries of ours, and I do believe it is sufficient. It is enough just to look at this picture and composition of the participants to grasp the importance of this initiative as it is today. It is here that we have people from the companies, the people who create new jobs and generate income and want to achieve progress. It is, of course, evident that this initiative is needed by all of us, and it not only is it needed, necessary, but unlike what many people say is late, this region may not continue being a hostage of its past in no aspect, and it is still, and whoever still fails to understand how small we are, divided as we are, to develop our economy, to create more new jobs, to create perspectives for well-paid jobs, especially for young people. Those who think like that are punished by living in the past. That we do not want to dwell in the past. We want to go forward to the future via an initiative that actually things of nothing new, simply brings into the region a complete and acceptable example, such as the European Union of having at its aim giving or creating opportunities for the four basic freedoms of the European Union to take roots here as well in this country. Why should we wait closed within our own boundaries and turned with our backs one to another, as it did happen over the last 500 years, instead of as long as the other parts, the countries in the EU have their own rhythm, their movement, and their prerequisites and requirements that do not depend on our action, but depending on what the others think, because at the end of the day, at the moment at which we will become integrated in the EU, we will doing exactly what we are doing here now without the EU. So tomorrow, as part of EU, we will not be discussing any further whether these four basic liberties will be made possible or implemented in our region, as much as it is unpleasant and maybe ridiculous and laughable to hear the Europeans in their capitals asking us, what are you guys doing? What do you mean, what are we doing? We cannot read numbers, figures, and facts in front of our eyes as to whether the experts from our experts from our governments, but we reading figures and facts provided by global organizations and development programs requiring that the gross domestic product be increased, and we could be able to do that by 2.5% only by means of economic integration. And if we do achieve the level that was agreed upon through the European Union for free trade, then this increase could go as high as 6 or even 7%. And why would we leave this opportunity aside and not use this opportunity sitting in our small closed territories, when we already have an opportunity as today to discuss the issues that were the result of the pandemic, we cannot take this potential away from us, the potential that the region has, and we have to do everything in our power to get back some of the time lost, and that is difficult to regain. We should not wait for the integration of the region to depend only on the 4 European freedoms they following, that we should concentrate those not following the accession to the EU, but now we always need to repeat that this is not an exclusive initiative of Albania, Serbia, or North Macedonia. We will keep repeating that this initiative is for the good of all, for the benefit of everyone, and anyone that wishes to join the initiative should do so, but we are not to expect some sort of consensus for membership or association with the others. We're not going to turn the Balkan into a caricature and send it to Brussels, and someone risk someone saying to us that you should not be signing these agreements. We do not have the luxury to waste any more time. We have already lost centuries. And we cannot do this in the way the 2 Balkan warriors that fought for the Sultan, and they happened to be in a fortress where the Sultan summoned them to give them what they have deserved, and he summons them and tells them, look guys, you were the first 2 people that came or mounted on this hill into the castle and put up the flag of the empire, but I don't know who is first, who was second. The first one can ask for whatever he wants, and the second one will get double what the first one gets. The second one thinks a bit, and then he realizes that he will get everything he wishes for, but the other one will get double. So he said, plug one of my eyes out so that the other one can have both of his eyes plugged out. So for a long time we did live being satisfied with the suffering of others instead of looking what we can gain from cooperation, but we were more interested and eager to see the others suffering due to such conflict situations. It's a long and painful history for all of us, especially when it comes to our past. Whoever says that this initiative was practiced or projected or designed in the former Yugoslavian claims to give Serbia power because it is the most powerful country and will take everything away from us. So people thinking like that must be living in a parallel world. Second of all, politics are not here to be burden on the people. They're here to improve the living conditions, to build bridges between nations, and thirdly, well, sometimes we forget that if we start doing things like this, and then we'll say, this may be, so to say, small Yugoslavia that represents the former larger, but that is not the truth. It's nothing more or less but creation of an atmosphere, an environment that lives with the principles, advantages of the European Union, while in the meantime each individual country investing its own efforts into making progress on the road to EU. as a result of which all trucks and goods traveling to the countries in the regions will now waste less and less time waiting on the borders, and the trading sector knows this very well. They lose much more time sitting on the borders than driving to their destination. In whose name should we accept this reality as being something not the way to go to Europe in the name of history, conflicts, or open issues that we very well known need to be resolved in future. It is right here that I want to repeat once again, any unresolved issues between us will not be resolved more easily if we choose to reject and oversee the potential of this initiative, this potential for cooperation. And the more it is translated into movement, freedom of movement, economy and perspectives, the more it will be possible to resolve any open issues, because all of these societies will make a shift, go to a different level of understanding themselves and the others. I'm not going to take much more of your time. Let me just highlight that when it comes to us, when it comes to Albania, this is a strategic initiative. We will continue going forward firmly towards the goals that we have set for ourselves. And the entire system allowing for the movement of people, capital, and services will be 100% accepted by the EU. And then we agreed to introduce an integrated system of information for payment of VAT and other charges. I understand Montenegro. I don't understand actually what are they thinking. I really fail to understand what they are thinking. Why? Are they maybe thinking that, or how to resolve the economy by not opening itself towards this initiative, which creates a serious problem for all the other countries? But Montenegro did create a big problem. What are they thinking? What about Bosnia? What are they thinking? As I do know, how Kosovo, for example, thinks, and related to this, and there's this quite opposite position, because for me, all of these countries should become a part of this process and actually make their contribution to the process to the benefit of themselves and their citizens and all of us together. And every day that we spend working on the process is a benefit for the future, and every lost day is a day that's just gone in the past, and the past cannot dictate how much we will develop economically. The future can do that. The past cannot dictate our pace of development in all directions. For example, take the patriots of Albania talking about the railroad. What railroad? What are these international financial organizations or investors who will throw huge funds required for a railroad if the train only travels to domestic destinations within the country. Will go to Pristina, who will travel, who will invest in the Macedonian railroad, see if the train only goes from Skopje to Tetovo, where who are those who claim that money will be invested in a sector that it is globally known to exist based on states' subsidies to balance investments. On the other hand, we together do have the power and desire to build a common project that will help us go and knock on the doors of the global monetary organizations and the EU that will help us build railroad networks for the entire Balkans, but this entire volume of movement justifies any mistrust. Why do we need railroads to post on Facebook or go to war with each other? We do not need railroads to post it on Facebook. Just an example, Albania, for example, makes a lot of money in tourism. You may say that it lives on it. Today, the size of tourism in the region is increasing to visible levels. It can go even higher. On the other hand, the other countries have the winter tourism that can, of course, be developed and thus create jobs, and in the future we will have a safer future, more secure future. We're here for the future, and the challenges will be resolved much more easily if we turn our eyes to the future. There is no problem that can be resolved if we look towards the past, only to the future. Thank you.
Left side, thank you. We'll continue with the second part of today's event. Let me invite the Prime Minister Zaev and President Vučić, as well as the presidents of the economic chambers from the three countries, Mr. Razevski, Ms. Mukostepa, and Mr. Čadež, to join us on the stage. Please, thank you. And Mr. Čadež, let me hand over the moderation of this event. I wish you success.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope we hear each other. I don't know if it's working. Thank you very much for this great messages that we have the opportunity to hear now. Thank you for your commitment to make this region as a region of success. You have done a lot in your countries. You already have done a lot for the region. We will see some numbers also. But basically, now I think we are starting something very, very new and a little bit different. And I think this panel will be a little bit different than the other ones. But first I would like to introduce my dear colleagues, my friends and presidents of the Chamber of Commerce of Albania and North Macedonia. Ines, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being with your companies. What is your impression?
It's a great impression.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to switch in Albanian as the protocol needs. Shkëlqësit tuaja, Kryeministri Zaev, Presidenti Vučić.
Your Excellencies, dear Prime Ministers, Mr. Rama, dear Prime Minister Zoran Zaev, Mr. Vučić, dear representatives of Chambers of Commerce, dear Branko, first of all, let me thank you as the government of the Republic of North Macedonia for the excellent welcoming of this significant event for the entire region. I wish to underscore our support for the promotion of this initiative by including both the stakeholders and, in the future, every single citizen and company representatives to get closer through the collaboration and mutual benefits in our economic cooperation. Today we are here to implement even more and more deeply our engagement for good neighborly relations and eliminate the obstacles and borders in doing business. We are all aware of the challenges we have ahead of us, and the business representatives will provide support to our governments for this promising initiative. Activities are undertaken to strengthen regional capacity. At the same time, it is going to be our responsibility to follow the steps for implementation by political leaders. We do not have any doubts in our journey in terms of the new approach to doing business, where our mission and vision is unified to facilitate and operate businesses, increase trade and movement of workforce within the region as the primary model for our future tasks for EU integrations. And precisely for the implementation of this vision, we as Chambers of Commerce will be monitoring this dynamics to be an active partner and strengthen our capacities at the national level in terms of fulfilling the requirements addressed by the business to our entities and preparation of specific proposals in line with the needs. Business community in the Western Balkans is very determined, and it is our task to provide and offer results. We will request efficient implementation of the agreements and memoranda signed today, and will be impartial judges to direct the positive outcomes of this process through the political will. We believe that this is a new era of merging of business and politics, then business to business policies as well. So it's very important for us today to be determined and fully believe the implementation and fulfillment of these goals. As founders of the Chambers of Commerce of the 6 countries in the Western Balkans, we've adjusted ourselves to name this joining as our own family without any barriers, to provide a joint voice to the business community in the region, to facilitate contact between businesses as well as promote the region as a business destination. 3 years ago, I personally proposed to my dear colleagues from the Forum of Chambers of Commerce the idea to set up a regional business council, and we are proud today to have founded this in terms of its positive steps, which contains 16 major companies in the region. Through the measurement indicators of performance, this Council will be monitoring the implementation of the measures facilitating the collaboration in the Western Balkan regions. Another collaboration that was successful was that Invest in Safte, that contributes to the visibility of the Western Balkans as a single investment destination. And currently we're working with all the companies in the region that through their high standards and action can become part of the international supply chain. Dear attendees, the Western Balkans is a region of agreements and opportunities, of capable and hardworking people, a region that is currently getting an important interest, which is a reason enough to preserve our relations. We have to share together, we have to be able to take away from each other, and the business community is ahead of an important momentum to take the right direction without any obstacles by encouraging the economic development in the region. Thank you.
Thank you, Ines, a lot. Thank you for being with us all these years. And, you know, you are a very, very tough lady fighting among a not so gender equal society and really working with us strongly. And thank you very much for your contribution. And I don't have to maybe present especially my dear friend Branko Zeski, who is the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Macedonia. He's in the regional cooperation, something like, I don't know, icon or something like that, in this business more than 40 years. So he's not speaking. He's so big that he's not speaking. I think he prepared. He's only filming himself. Or tell us. So I have to post it. Do we have his video, maybe?
Добре дојдовте. Добродошли.
Welcome. The Economic Chamber of North Macedonia, you're today's host. In the coming year, in the month of February, we'll be celebrating its 100th anniversary, which is a sufficient fact to send a few messages on its behalf. The first one being, today we should finally agree that the long lines of trucks should disappear from our borders. Number two, what characterizes us so far, the closeness, grey economy and cheap workforce to stay behind us. Therefore, we need to make an agreement today on two aspects: to open the Balkans and to unify as business. May we have good luck. Пачин фат. Нека нам ја са среќом. Inspired. Inspired by what I've heard from the political leaders, I just wish on your behalf to share with you that what we mean by criteria, that is to say political leadership is required from presidents. We could see that in action both by Mr. Zaev, Vučić and Mr. Rama, because for an initiative that has not full support yet for the political leadership to explain it and to lead their peoples towards that goal is only political leadership that is meant by the West, and we need to take it. And that's why we should award them with a round of applause.
Now I think we should start with our, let's say, very dynamic Q&As with our leaders, having in mind that we heard a lot of good messages, we heard a lot of good potentials that I think can be realized in the near future. I was thinking about how to structure this panel because, you know, everybody and everything was so set up to have another, you know, some kind of boring panel about regional cooperation. We have the name, which is not so original, like regional economic cooperation. We have 400 business people, and this is great that they that are actually waiting to speak about making money because they haven't been able to do it for the last year and a half. And we have business leaders again on the other forum, which maybe thinks like, oh, another forum for the regional cooperation. But basically it is more than that, because this is the first time that I feel, and I think the business people also feel that way, that we have a tangible spirit of cooperation and that we can count, and we are all still counting on the results. And we have a clear demands and the clear questions to be answered and to be asked. If you let the few slides behind me, I have always to remind the people here, but it's okay. Now, where we are now, we are about 60 to 120 minutes approximately waiting in our border crossings between our three countries. I'm talking about trucks. And this is much better than we had 2 years ago. It is better. And this is a product of your cooperation. But our clear goal is 0 minutes. And that is what President Vučić, but also the both Prime Minister especially pointed out. Without 0 minutes, we cannot be competitive with our colleagues. All of us here, 400 people, 400 companies, cannot be competitive with our colleagues in the European Union. In our surveys, 40% of the companies are complaining about problems in finding qualified labor force, good engineers, good people in their own systems. That's why we don't need only to simplify the procedures of getting the working permit, but to have one working permit. 0 minutes on the border, one working permit, so that it is actually not a problem at all to find the people. Other thing that I think we need to talk about is that we have, since 2012 until 2019, 350,000 people left our countries, left and migrated. I think we can do better. I think if we talk about opening perspective, then we have to talk about giving them possibility to find and to work in the region, to work near to home, near to their families. And this is also something which all the three leaders discussed yesterday, but also in the previous meetings, how to recognize the qualification and how to enable and open the perspective for the young people. And this is why I wanted to structure this more as a, let's say, working meeting or working session than a panel. So I will switch in different roles of the entrepreneurs being present here and having a lot of questions, and try to keep you on your ideas, to exchange ideas between you. And first of all, I would like to start with basically idea that we are now business people talking about their businesses in the future operations, and now they have to count when they can actually drive or let their goods flow from one country to other country with no borders, so that they calculate the logistic and transportation costs differently, and then can, of course, differently prepare for their businesses. So Zoran, if I am the businessman, I have to make a calculation. I am the company. What do you think? When I can do that, and what is your idea about how to come to this point? 0 minutes on the border.
So, first of all, the idea of President Vučić was to talk directly with you, businessmen who give and open jobs for our people, who fulfill our national budgets, who strengthen our economy, and of course increase export. And having all that in mind, we talk very often with our chambers of commerce together in all meetings, and we are in the same line. We are very open, believing that we can do a lot together. When the political leadership is very honestly open for cooperation, for supporting each other, believing that we can add it a lot to our economies, we develop those ideas who was suggested by the chambers of commerce. And now I will share few ideas what came from President Vučić, from Prime Minister Rama, from me, but originally from you. And we will ask your help how to implement it as faster as possible. So the idea of how to take out all these hundreds and hundreds trucks in Tabanovce-Preševo border or Kjafasan border or any border between us, we need to do two things. Our ministers of finance need, through software, connected our VAT systems. That was given by the experts, like idea, like removing only obstacle why trucks wait in the borders. Because the invoicing of the documentation and all control of taxations are possible only with mitigation and connection through software of VAT. Our ministers of interior will change all necessary data for fighting crime and corruption together. Because the truck starting from Štip and going to Kumanovo can make crime, can make the same crime till Novi Sad or till Duras, But when we connect and act together, and our services cooperate very good, they will cover the other space. All trucks and goods have a custom management in the cities or in the factories when they started transportation. What they do in the borders? Nothing special. They have starting and final destination. And we need really remove this waiting in the borders. And the idea is really to have no stop, just go. First of all, probably, we will open the special truck and we'll burn the name, the new name of the regional corporation, what will be announced now. And that will give a really special focus to our businessmen, to our companies here from Albania, Serbia, and North Macedonia. Second one is idea how to support services, for example, and develop tourism. Any kind we need to support hotels and restaurants. And in the future, better connection between our people are through young people. And we develop idea how to organize thousands and thousands children from the schools spending together some time in the hotels, in Dures, in Veranda, in other cities in Albania, in Zlatibor, in Kopaonik, in Ohrid, in Dojran. Between young people, the ties what will be made remain till end of the life. And we will do it that how to increase touristic seasons, not to take touristic part of the hotels. After that or before that. And it's really, we can do a lot for economy and for better connection of the people. Or that is something what is very trendy now in the moment, renewables. We can do it together with you, with the companies, we countries, a lot of projects together. And that will put us to be more stronger in front of all these things, what will happen about taxations against coal, against CO2, against all this increasing rapidly the expenditures of the company. It's not the same if we, North Macedonia, negotiate with European countries alone or together with Serbia and Albania. We can achieve more and better situation for our companies, for our economies, and we can do it that together. The idea is to build one of the biggest photonapon centrals here in the Balkans together. 3 countries together with our businesses. And a lot of other ideas are pending. I will leave a space to Alexander and to Eddie to share that, because all these ideas coming really from you, practically. And we believe very much that what we signed today is only starting point. All this is pending. We take obligation and to make a very pleasant situation and advantage to our economies and to our citizens.
Thank you. Thank you, Prime Minister Zaev. It's really encouraging. It is the question of something what President Vučić also marked in his speech. It is a question which is, I think, a very important question for all of us, trust. You have spoken about trust and about importance of being able to sit in another's shoes and to think about the same interests and same goals. But question for you, Mr. President, is more how to transfer this trust from you, we are witnessing that among you is a lot of trust, to the trust in public administration, in the people that are actually dealing with implementation of this, what is needed to be done.
I'll do my best to be as brief as it is possible, because I see that we are bothering people here and they have already heard everything they wanted to hear. Trust, confidence and reliability are the most important words, and it's important when we can count on each other. And the situation regarding that inoculation process, vaccination process, showed us that we can be more helpful to each other than in a way that we have always been expecting that kind of assistance and help from all the others, and always not counting on our first neighbors. And that's just one of the issues, because all of us, all of our countries, all of our people from this region have always been underestimating ourselves. We have always been underestimating ourselves. Everything that was happening, everything that was done somewhere else, it has always been better than something that was done here. And that kind of frustration that we dare to say even today, it's something that we need to overcome, and it means that we should believe in our own strength, in ourselves, and we should build this kind of self-confidence, but also confidence, trust between us. And we need to become absolutely reliable partners. The issue is, and your question was, how are we going to transfer it to our administrations? I think more importantly is how we're going to transfer it to our people, to our citizens. Our administration will have to deliver, and I'm certain that even people started to know each other, and I still remember my first meeting with Eddie. It was 2015, and it was like two enemies came to each other, you know, and finding sufficient excuses to offend the other side, and not asking for the real cooperation, and doing something in a way that we wanted to gain some political points internally and nothing but that. Today we don't care about it anymore. We care about our common future. We care about possible results in the future. And that's it. Do you really think that I should reply to someone from the region that didn't want to join us so far? No. It's not even painful to us, to tell you the truth. If you want to join us, good. If you don't want to join us, good. It's your choice. But we need to take care of us. And that's very simple. And I believe that people, why this is important, those open borders, then people will feel more welcome wherever they go on our territories. Either it's Ohrid and Presport Oiran, either is Skopje, either is Dures, Saranda, Škodar, or Tirana, or Belgrade, Novi Sad, Niš, Kopaonik, Zlatibor, whatever you take it. It's people will feel it. And people, even today, Serbs which visited Albania and which are still at Albanian shore, they feel better, they feel more secured after today's meeting. It's the same with the Serbs that are spending their time at Ohrid. It's the same with Albanians and Macedonians that are today in Belgrade. This is something, these are type of messages we need to send to the people. I'm sorry that it took a lot of your time. I'm an ardent, very passionate supporter of this idea, because I think this is going to change the political and, more than that, economic landscape for us, for the benefit and for the sake of our people, and I'm proud that we initiated it. And I believe that whoever will succeed us in the future, those people will carry on with this initiative. This is not an initiative for few politicians. This is an initiative for the people and for the sake and for the benefit of all our people. Once again, sorry that I took a lot of your time.
Thank you very much. The question of trust and the question of competence and confidence, for example, is also something what we have to consider about the relation of this region and the European Union. And I had a slide which shows that our waiting of our trucks on our borders reduced to 60 to 120 minutes, but we are still waiting 10 hours on the borders with the European Union. Our goods, people are producing something to the EU, and this is something where we need to work, I think, more with the EU and to try to convince them that that I think we are the not only the part, it's for them important to be the part of the European economic structure. Prime Minister Rama.
Can I interrupt you?
Of course, always.
Just for a second. Now you're going to see, my dear friends, I don't know what Eddie is going to respond on this, but whatever he might say about it, 100% of everything he's going to say, I would sign immediately. Just for you to know in advance, every single word.
You also sign? Yes. Okay. Eddie, let's have a signature.
No, now he wants me to say about recognizing Kosovo and he'll not sign. So, but the question, of course, was made to me because I assume that Marco, as a very skillful deal maker among people of different nations in the name of the future and of business community, finds it funny to make me speak about EU. But I would like to say this. We are going to sign today the working permit agreement. And guess what? Serbia and North Macedonia have a problem. They need to change their legislation. What we did beforehand was to say, why the hell citizens of the European Union come to our country and have immediate work permits and immediate recognition of their own qualification and work permit, and people from the region do not? Why? So what we did in our legislation was to put in the same level the citizens of the European Union and the citizens of the region. So whomever from all the other countries, from Kosovo to Serbia, North Macedonia, Bosnia and Montenegro, comes to us to work or to stay, has the same treatment legally as a European Union citizen. Now, is it normal to keep it like it was and to say no, no, no? When it comes to someone coming from Serbia to North Macedonia or Albania or vice versa, or to Bosnia and so on, the guy has to go through a hell of procedure. The guy has to bribe for getting a paper because he's not a European, because he's not part of this European Union. This is what it is about. And we have this all the way. Example, some guys sending watermelons to Bosnia. They came to me and they said, what the hell? 9 hours. 9 hours driving. So better they could go to Texas with their watermelons. We arrive at the Bosnian border, 1 day, 24 hours. I don't know what the Bosnian people got at the end because they were not watermelon anymore. But this is their pain. So what the hell? How possibly we can make trucks and goods in our, because if you go through all the chambers of commerce data, and you will find how much food is going from here to there, to there, to there, how much agricultural production is going from Albania to all the countries, and how much products are going from Serbia to other countries, and from, so why we have to make all these people suffer? Why? In the name of what? How possibly we are not able to give these people what their colleagues have in the European Union? Is it not enough? Is it not enough for our people to be waiting in the borders of the European Union? So they have to wait even in the border with Montenegro? Come on, give me a break. How comes? Further, when it comes to young people, I'm really, fascinated. Big fuss about this RICO, whatever, office of youth based on the German, French experience. Very good. It was good, but how much we have done in these years to really connect the young people, but in a manner that is socializing. So we have to put some effort. And Zoran mentioned something. I say we can really make a big difference if we well organize, based on the experience of each other, okay? The Olympic movement in the level of the young people, and put them together in having activity, sport, competition. Of course, Serbs will beat us in basketball, in volleyball. We don't have water, whatever it is called, polo. They would sink us. But we will learn, and kids will have fun. So what's the point? What's the point? There are so many. On the other hand, we are seeing a very heavy, dark, black cloud coming to our skies, which is the squeeze the region will be put with its carbon taxes and carbon embargoes and carbon boycotts and all this. What we do? So, my friends and brothers in Pristina, I have to think about this. I have to think about this. And the solution is regional, is not closing off, is regional. While they have to go back and forth in the dialogue and all this, they have to think about this, because their production is carbon-based. And tomorrow, their whole budget will go to pay the taxes and the tariffs. But the same thing is for many. So while we have so big resources in the region, we have sun, with wind, but we have also to see how we will match the hydro and how we make of this region a region where the Green Deal is possible without squeezing completely the economies and without making people powerless. So when we will discuss it, when it will come, when in Brussels they'll put sanctions for carbon-based products even, not just production of energy. Tourism in our region, I have said it many times, I'll repeat it. King Zog was not a mini Schengen guy, so he didn't really, but in King Zog time in Albania, the guiding, the tourist guides, guess what? Were regional. And they didn't have the railways, they didn't have the airplanes, they didn't have anything of that. But when you would come to Durrës, you would get a guide with drawings, black and white, very nice, and they would tell you, here it is where we should go, here it is where you should go, and it was borderless, totally borderless, with horses. Now, why the hell we don't do it? So it makes a difference if Polish or if Swedish or whatever guy is coming to the beach in Albania, or it is a Serb, a North Macedonian, or whomever else, let alone people from Kosovo, yes, it makes a difference. We drink more than them. We spend more than them. We have more fun than them. And this will bring more money to our economy. Why we have to not do it now and to wait for when? When the European Union will bring us all in, and then they'll say, now you are disinfected, now you can take off the mask and speak to each other. We are living since centuries with masks in front of each other. We have to take off the masks and to do the things. And as I said, and I conclude here, again, the unsolved issues will not be solved easier by turning the back to each other. Alexander mentioned when we met first time. It was a time when we could go to war for a football game. Okay? And of course, it was a very difficult meeting. It doesn't mean that we agreed, and we agree today on that issue about Kosovo. But how this can be an impediment to help our economies? It's not about strengthening the economy of Serbia, but it's about strengthening all our economies by giving them more space. It's very simple. And again, it's not how much Serbia grows. It's his problem, it's his challenge. It's not my problem, it's not my challenge. But what I know is that from that growth, also us can profit, and vice versa. So he said it all. All our GDP together is less than Slovakia. Why? Why? Is Slovakia bigger? No. It's smaller. Is Slovakia richer in resources? No. It's not true. Is Slovakia what? And don't forget, what we are doing in the region is not, I would like it to be an invention. It's not an invention. You have the Nordic countries doing it since I don't know how many decades. You have the Visegrad countries doing it. They are in the Union, in the European Union, they still do it. So we need to unleash the potentials. The potentials are there. God has blessed our region with everything our people need to live in a decent way towards a brighter future. Who has sabotaged the God project have been the people. So many times by doing the most stupid things possible and by making the biggest harm to each other, then we have to say enough, and we have to work together. And by knowing each other, by cooperating with each other, by making everyone look the benefits, the portions of the crazy guys will shrink. And the portions of the open-minded and of the forward-looking people will grow. This is simple. European Union is our shining example. And to the Europeans that say, what are you doing? The answer is very simple. We are doing what you have taught us to do. Just consider us good guys that have learned the lesson. And don't feel bad because we learned it. We don't need to be taught anymore, so we are not teaching you. Of course, you have other tricks that we have to learn, but this trick we learned. Being together is better than being alone. Simple.
Great. So, President, Prime Minister, anything to add or just signing? Anything to add or just signing?
Don't go back to the signing.
Don't do the signing thing, okay. No problem. So it is meant to be a really open dialogue also with the companies and the business community, and I think what we heard until now is very, very optimistic and encouraging. But now I would like to, here we preparing this forum, we also had some preparation with the people and the companies about interesting questions, and there are a few questions I think that are needed to be asked, and one of them is coming from our great friend Vasil Naci from Albania, Agna Group. Vasil, please if you can.
Thank you very much. First of all, my name is Vasil, and Vasil Naci, and I'm president of Agna Group. I'm in this region working and doing business for many years. I'm more than 20 years in Serbia, and here 3 years in Macedonia, and more than 10 years in Kosovo. So, and 30 years in Albania. So, first of all, I would like to really congratulate on this political will. I mean, this is amazing for us as a business community, because this is the first step, and that is the most important step. So, and personally, I believe that this will should be supporting. I mean, we have our colleagues, sometimes we are here, as Mr. Prime Minister Edi Rama mentioned a few times, that they like to go in Europe, but they don't like to cooperate each other. I don't understand. This is paradoxal. I mean, that's why I say that we should really support. I know that the best mechanism to bring people together, prosperity in our country, and to break the borders are the entrepreneur leaders, are the economy. This requires help from the community, from the political, but I see that there is a will. And from my side, I would say, as a part of Chamber of Commerce of the 6 countries, this will should be supported more from us, because it's taken the decision, the implementation is hard. And the implementation needs more support from all of us. So my personal, I say thank you very much, and they will have our help to implement this fast, so we can see the results fast, all this initiative and good initiative. I don't want to go in any special, because everything is being said. The most important now is how we can go quickly to the implementation. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your introduction. And this is also important for someone who is having the companies in Albania, in Serbia, and in Macedonia. And the real thing is, why is he keen to implementation, is because standardization procedures, laboratories, everything he has to deal with, and his business depends on synchronizing his businesses among 3 countries, and he's very, very present in all three of them. Maybe some reflection, Zoran.
I will only comment. One of the necessity for us to support that is especially that kind of businesses. Why? Because it's a really kind of example that if you want to buy some stock from and goods from Serbia and to transfer to North Macedonia and Albania, you wait in the border, or vice versa. Why to do that? Or how, when you import in Albania some goods and you make all these analyses from Agency for Food and Veterina, is good for Albania, and after that you must do it in your markets also here in North Macedonia again. Why? If it's good for Albania, it's good for North Macedonia, it's good for Serbia, why we needed to check it 3 times if you transfer it also to Serbia after that? So we want to send this message that we built huge trust. We need to share this trust to you, to business community. We need your help how to find solution with public administration, because it's a lot of administrative work in front of us. Alexander mentioned it. We put goals like 1st of January 2023, no stop, just go. That means agencies must deliver the trust of each other. Ministries of Interior deliver the trust of each other of all data. Ministries of Finance and Public Revenue Office deliver the trust of each other completely, because we exist to serve you. And having that in mind, we'll double, triple your trade, open a lot of jobs. Through the competition of jobs will be bigger salaries. Our competitiveness in front of the rest of the world will be higher and higher. That means to conquer new markets, who will increase economic standard completely here through the GDP, etc., etc. So all these things will need a help And I want to use opportunity, how I use in front of our Chamber of Commerce, to invite you to come and support us and work with us in public administration. With your practical experience, you can push public administration to make it faster, to make it more corrigible with that, and finally, we can share the pleasant of all success together.
Thank you, Zoran, very much.
And I would be very curious to see other governments in the region, what they will tell to the business people when in the same border a truck of one of these three countries will fly without control and the other truck will be there to wait. This is what we are doing. And we would love to be inclusive even without permission, by the way. But when it comes to trade, you can't do it. But when it comes to culture, you can. So we will push for an open Balkan Film Commission. And it will be a special fund for kids, young creators of all the region, not just of the three countries, all the region. So with the condition that projects are based on cooperation between more than one community, we will have this Open Balkan Film Commission. And we will give to all creative minds of the region the possibility to access an additional potential funding source for their filming. But when it comes to trade, when it comes to all the things that have to do with government decision, we cannot do it. So again, I repeat, these governments, these countries, these governments should not take hostage their business communities, should not take hostage their farmers that need to sell, should not take hostage their tourist operators, should not take hostage all these productive and serving communities. We are not gonna let our communities hostage of the past. But now, while this initiative is open to everyone and based on no vetoes, no consensus, these communities should know that they are hostage of their governments, not of anything else. So this should be very clear.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And this is something that we have in front of us, speaking about challenges and the information exchange at all and the cross-border issue. There is another one from a company, question from the company Nectar, Vukašin Petković is here with us, which deals with also information exchange, but in working force and labor. So please, Vukašin.
Thank you very much.
Nectar company from Serbia, which is one of the biggest producers of beverage and think from Slovenia till Albania, everywhere present. So please.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, we are a regional producer, leader of juices and also water, Heba Bujanovac. Also, we have a Fructal in Slovenia, but also present in Macedonia. So we are employing 1,300 people from several countries. So for us, it's very important that we have a liberalized system of exchange of information on employment and people. So the main question for us is how in practice will be made the exchange of information about the employment and also register of the employees and easy getting the working permits. You know, I was also working on this 10 years ago as a lawyer, a trainee. I was very frustrated on the whole procedure of getting the working permit for the foreign employees in Serbia, and also I was also included in some cases when we were working this in abroad. You know. So this is very important for us. You know.
Thank you very much. Maybe because President of Serbia gave us a very clear date on 0 minutes on the border. Can we have some date on the one unique working permit?
I can say that we need to change our legislation on this because I don't know why, but we haven't been so far very flexible on easily giving working permits to the foreigners, which you know quite well. And there is a big need for the labor force that might come from abroad, as you know today. And after changing the legislation, it has to happen before that 15th of October, which we have already mentioned during our discussion, before the last preparations for the summit of the top leaders of mini Schengen. It would be another name, initiative. And it means that we'll have all registries from all three countries unified, and you'll have an easy access to see what kind of profiles you need, where you can find them, how you can reach them, how you can contact them, and how you can use them, if they want, of course, and if you want. And this is something I really believe very important, and I think that it will also bring something that is very important. People will feel more free to contacting all the others from different countries. When you face this kind of atmosphere today, then I'm certain, because I know your company, I know how important it is in a very economically fragile region of Serbia, how important it is, and I know that you might need people from both North Macedonia and Albania. Bring them and we'll deliver within 3 months everything on this. And now I see it's a huge need for Philippine guys in an entire Belgrade. But there are very strict rules, I don't know why. We don't allow it, or not easily. It doesn't go softly, swiftly, smoothly, efficiently as we would like to see it. And that's why many of our companies haven't, they really face huge problems. And this is something, you know, can you imagine something if you use just an ordinary vehicle, a car, and you want to go from, let's say, Tirana to Vienna, which is the road you take? You'll need 5 hours less if you go without any borders through North Macedonia and Serbia, Budapest, and then you reach Vienna, then going through, I don't know, Dubrovnik, Split, Montenegro, Dubrovnik, Split, and everything else. At least 4 to 5 hours less, without any kind of stop-bys caused by someone else. And it also means that there would be more of good news for business people. They can reach each other much easier, and I hope that Zoran will finish this work on this initiative in a way that we're going to finish it before the mid-October, and then we'll be ready to start realizing this. And this is good, this is very good, and I think it's of an utmost significance for all of us. I believe that some of us do underestimate this measure. This is something that will unite us. This is something that will be very helpful to all of us. This is something that will bring people closer to each other, that will bring business to business people closer to each other. When you start speaking to each other, tomorrow you're not going to underestimate Vasil. Vasil will not underestimate you. Then you're going to speak how you can earn more money for the sake of your companies, for the sake of your people. These are good news. There is nothing bad. And what I don't like when we refer to you, it's that we always take defensive position, like we are justifying ourselves because we do something that is bad for someone else. Whatever we do is good. It's good for our people. We don't put in jeopardy anyone else. We do nothing against anyone. You're ready. If you're ready, you can join us. If you want to join us, join us. But please, I'll have to stop, and I have already stopped. I'm not going to make any further invitations to anyone. I spoke to every single official from Bosnia and Herzegovina, to every single one, not for one time, for 10 times. And I cannot, if he doesn't understand Pristina's position, or he cannot understand, I'm going to put it aside. I would have some comments, but I'll put it aside because of Edi's presence. That's how we need to work. But speaking, let's say, about Bosnia, I don't get it, to tell you the truth. I appreciate those people, I respect those people. I just cannot understand what is their take on this, what is the issue that they might be against in this initiative, what is bad in this initiative for them, because it would be very beneficial for them being a part of this initiative. And no doubts about it. No doubts about it. And whenever you ask them, okay, tell me what's the reason, I just need to see something that is reasonable, something that is rational, something that is pragmatic. The only response I get is, well, you know, Alexander, Srebrenica happened, okay, but it happened 26 years ago. We need to live together. And then, okay, if it's not that, we need more time to scrutinize it. And Eddie knows this. I asked them, okay, what do we need to scrutinize? Because there is nothing. Now we create the rules. Now we create the substance. Today we create the substance together with you. You're the people that are creating the substance. We consulted ourselves with you, with all three chambers of commerce, Macedonian, Albanian, and Serbian. We discussed this with business people. What else you need? Now we put new rules in front of us. We pave the path. We pave the road for the future. And that's it. Of course, we're going to change it 10 times. Because we'll see there is something lacking here, something's not working in the best possible way as we wanted. Change it. And we'll do it. But we'll be more successful. And I can tell you something. You'll see, not this year, not next year, but I can tell you in advance, within 2 years, you'll see that we'll always have at least for 1% bigger growth rate, at least for 1% bigger growth rate than in the other Western Balkan countries because of this program, because of this initiative. And I have no doubts about it. And the World Bank has no doubts about it. No one has no doubts about it. But it's always about political issues. And the most important politics is economy. It's people-to-people contact, business-to-business contact, and then government-to-government contact. This is something that I really believe in, and I'm very happy that I saw Zoran and Eddie very ardently discussing all these issues, because we started believing very much in this. We started believing very much in this, and we see that we can do it, that we have power in our hands to delivering on this for the sake of our people. I want to see more of Macedonian people in Belgrade. I want to see more of Albanian people in Belgrade, and they are very welcome. And I want to be certain that our people, when they come to Durrës, that they will be safe, secure, and that they will face hospitality of good Albanian people. What is wrong with that? Who is exactly the guy that is insulted or offended with us? What we do against anyone? The only issue and the only thing is that we do it by ourselves and for ourselves. And we don't make any questions to the others that have always been putting many questions to us for everything that we were doing so far. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have another one. Please.
Because it's connected. Really today we don't sign agreement, we sign memorandum because Serbia and North Macedonia need to change the law about working permits. Albania do that. And what's happened now in Albania, you get a residency. Because it's the same like citizens of Albania. If somebody from North Macedonia and Serbia want to work, Albania get work like Albanian from Albania. And after that, you can own a house in the sea, in Tirana. Give another opportunities. So all that, of course, we take obligation to finish till middle of October, because in the end of the year must put in use completely, hoping that in Belgrade, the beginning of November, we will announce that we are ready with these working permits.
Thank you.
I would add one thing, that the unintended consequence on business of this scrutinizing endlessly and not joining might be reallocation of businesses in these three countries. They have to see it before coming, because a market of 500,000 people or more or less, I don't want to have, like Montenegro, based on tourism. It's too small to live isolated from that. And in Bosnia, it's true. I talked to the whatever it's called, the big guy there. Yeah, the rotating whatever. And and he told me we are scrutinizing. He didn't talk about past. We are scrutinizing. What has to be scrutinized here? It's very simple. Will we give up on scrutinizing watermelons in every border until they arrive at the end and they don't look like watermelons, or not? Very simple. There is nothing else. It's very, very simple. Taking off barriers that make of the watermelon a depressed apple when it arrives in Bosnia. That's it. Dry, depressed apple.
Thank you. And this is actually, we are coming to the point. Mich, please. Yes, you will sign. Wait a minute, you will sign it. That's not a problem. Signing was never the problem. The problem was how to really implement the sign. So it will be signed. But basically, I just want, because we are short of the time, I just want to mention and to somehow sum up before we end this, and to thank a lot for your efforts and for your commitment and for your time exchanging with the business community all the necessary questions. And let's do something which is a summing of basically what we have heard from our three leaders. So first of all, thank you that we have the first real opening of our economies in being able to meet, to see each other in person. That is the first opening. Thank you very much for the clear vision and date of opening our borders. 0 minutes, that's the goal. Thank you for thinking about opening possibilities for our people to getting more jobs, new jobs, one working permit. 2022, as I understand, yeah? And last but not least, for young people, recognition of their knowledge, recognition of their qualification. We have to work on it. And it is not so hard. One qualification, one profession, 3 countries, the whole region. So this is also something that we can do very, very fast. Thank you, dear entrepreneurs, for being here, being with us, and giving such a great comments and ideas about how we can proceed with this process. So the last question, 1 minute for all of you, or half a minute for you before you sign. 0 minutes, 23, 1 working permit, 22, 1 qualification, 3 countries, 22, okay?
From the beginning of 2022.
From the beginning of 2022. Sorry, my president is always very precise.
What is very important only. Parallelly, we work for a lot of digital connection, a lot of software adoption, all our institutions. Still remaining that if you get ill from corona, you don't need to spend money if that's happened in Serbia, in North Macedonia, in Albania. Our systems are connected. Our borders was always open. Today we sign also agreement if happens some catastrophe, some elementary problems like earthquakes, like fires, like floods, we triple our capacity. So they act together, no matter if it's happened in Serbia, in North Macedonia, in Albania. And all these things, what we do in the moment is developing idea coming from business community, from the citizens. And I believe very much that giving and getting that kind of goals will push our administration. But we know that we need help with our administration. Please help us, business sector, to work together with our administration to achieve even earlier, if it's possible. Because really there is some needs for courage more, there is some needs to share practically what will be cutting, waiting in the borders. What will happen practically? Nothing special will happen practically. Only deliver the trust and we coverage without stopping all borders. So all of that is really something what put in front of us like goals in concrete data, and I believe that is achievable, but there is a lot of other things, we don't mention it. If you travel, President Vučić mentioned it, if you travel, you can use tools, 5% less, with electronic mechanism digitalization. All hotels and restaurants will give 5–10% discount only because you are from this region. A lot of other things, we can tape it, movies together, this idea. We will put money, even in this preparing budget for 2022, for this initiative, with concrete millions of euros, your money normally, but to support and give a benefit to the citizens. So we are very honest. We trust each other very much, honestly, and I know that the businessmen are well connected, and there will be only success.
Thank you very much. And now, please, huge applause for the people and for this great courage to work. Thank you very much. And now you have to commit yourself and sign. We are back to signing. Eddie.
Yes. Thank you all once again. The presidents of the economic chambers can have a seat downstairs. The leaders, please proceed to the table here for the ceremony of signing set of memorandums and agreements for regional cooperation. The first agreement on cooperation for disaster protection and rescue in the Western Balkans represents the operationalization of the expressed readiness of the leaders of its 3 signatory countries, Republic of North Macedonia, Republic of Serbia, and Republic of Albania, for mutual cooperation in preventing and mitigating the consequences of disasters. With it, the contracting parties regulate the framework of conditions for voluntary assistance in case of disasters. The second one, Memorandum of Understanding to facilitate the import, export and movement of goods in the Western Balkans. is based on the readiness of the political leaderships of the three countries to strengthen mutual relations and understanding, especially in the areas of import, export, and movement of goods, in order to eliminate barriers to cross-border trade, contributing to the progress of economic cooperation and increasing the volume of mutual trade. And the third one, with the Memorandum on Labor Market Movement in the region, the contracting parties expressed their willingness to facilitate the movement of people in order to provide easier and freer access to the labor market, in order to remove work permits and simplify the procedures related to temporary permit residence. And now we are done. Thank you, dear leaders, once again. Congratulations. And many further success with this initiative. While you're here, I would ask for your attention. We have another one very important thing that would mark it and be mark of identification of this initiative. This is it. We have a pleasure to promote the new name and the branding of the initiative, Open Balkan. Applause once again. With this, the official part of the Economic Forum for Regional Cooperation is over. After the break, we continue with the press conference of the leaders. In the meantime, the others, please proceed to the central part of the hotel for bilateral meetings. Once again, congratulations and wear masks.